Darth Kermit here with a rather long video guide on the LSGeo Phase 3 KAM special mission. This mission is very difficult and very complex. Thankfully, the fine folks over on the 50 Shards of KAM Discord server did all the hard work months ago and figured out a very solid recipe that will nearly guarantee success in this mission. I'm not going to replicate all their hard work. If you want to see their exact recipe, there will be links in the description. What I'm going to do in this video is walk you through 2 examples of successfully following their recipe. But before I get into the details of the team, if you like my videos, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and support me on Patreon if you think I deserve it. First, an overview. Like the Acklay battle in Darkside Geonosis, this is a 3-sided battle. You have the Reek on one side, Jango Fett on another, and then Shock T and the 501st clones. You have to kill Jango first and then the Reek to win this fight. Do not kill the Reek first, it will be practically impossible to win if you do. What makes this fight particularly difficult and complex are all the special mechanics. First up is Trampled. This is a debuff that the Reek will constantly be applying to your team and Jango. It reduces max protection by 50% and prevents any attacks out of turn or turn meter gain. However, a character can only attack Jango if they have more stacks of Trampled than Jango does, so to a certain extent you actually need some Trampled on your team. The second major special mechanic is Stand Your Ground, which is an ability granted to Shock T that allows her to cleanse herself or a teammate of stacks of Trampled. On top of those 2 major mechanics, you also have a bunch of other mechanics to worry about. 1. The Reek gains speed and turn meter every time it is damaged, as well as offense and crit chance at the start of each of its turns. 2. Jango has no cooldowns. He can spam Conflagration all he wants. 3. The Reek takes reduced damage from Rex's aerial advantage, but Jango does not. 4. Jango loses 100% turn meter whenever damaged by the Reek. And 5. Reek and Jango both ignore Taunt, so feel free to use 5's Taunt at will. Now let's talk about the team. First, we'll go over modding for the entire team, and then I'll talk about each character's purpose in the fight. This recipe requires a very specific modding strategy for your team. Thankfully, there are 3 very easy-to-use tools that will help you with this. Pick one of them and use it. First is the one that I use, Grand Ivory. This tool has the 50 Shards of KAM mod recipe built in. It will show you which stats are off and help you pick the right mods to hit the correct stats. Next is Hotbot. Hotbot has a 50 Shards of KAM test built into it. Whenever you use this, Hotbot will check your current mods on the team and show you which stats and mods need to be adjusted. Last is DSR Bot, which does something similar to Hotbot, but much simpler. Now here's what I will note about modding. You absolutely can win this without meeting all of the target stats, but the more targets you miss, the less likely you are to win, even if you play it perfectly. One target to make sure you don't miss is speed. It is super important to meet all speed targets to have any chance of making this strategy work. Neither of my teams that I'm showing today meet all the targets, but I win with them most of the time anyway because they do meet all the speed targets and are at least close to the few targets that they do miss. And one last thing on this, relic level doesn't actually matter that much except to make up for lacking mods. The higher your relic levels, the easier time you will have modding for all the target stats. And if there's one tune to focus on relics for, it's 5s. I have my 5s at R7 on both accounts and it makes a big difference. Now on to Shock T. She's the most important character in the lineup. She keeps your team alive and cleanses Trample. If she dies early, you are very unlikely to win, so if you have to skimp on modding somewhere, make sure it's not on Shock T. She will have the special ability Stand Your Ground. You are generally going to want to use this on herself or Echo, but you may also want to use this on 5s if he is about to die without sacrificing. Her first special assault team will let you cleanse and occasionally give turn meter, but probably its most useful thing is that it will allow you to stealth Arc Trooper if he is getting too hurt and you can't heal him. And then her second special will allow you to heal someone like Echo or Arc and give them 25% crit damage. That last bit is super important. It significantly helps when taking down the Reek after Jango is dead. Next we have Rex. He's actually not that important. He'll help cleanse Burning, provide Tenacity up, and help take out Django, but most importantly, he should be an easy target to get taken out early to get 5s to sacrifice sooner rather than later. You can try to use his aerial advantage on Django to take him out quicker, but in my experience this only works out maybe half the time. And after Django is dead, Rex is pretty useless against the Reek except as an extra target to soak up some damage. Echo is actually going to be your main damage dealer. His EMP grenade does great damage, and if you keep him cleansed of trample, his assist will damage Django as long as the character he's assisting had more stacks than Django. He's your second target for Stand Your Ground, your primary target for Shock's heal and crit damage boost, and the primary target for Arc Turret command. Next up is 5s. As usual, his primary purpose here is to sacrifice himself to boost everyone else. His relic levels and mods are super important because so much of those stats will transfer to the rest of the team when he sacrifices. Don't be afraid to use his taunt because both Django and Reek ignore taunts. And last, the Arc Trooper. He's your second damage dealer. He should generally have enough stacks of trampled to attack Django. If not, he should attack Reek. Assign command should be used whenever possible and should almost always be assigned to Echo. If Arc Trooper is getting very low on health, he can be stealthed with Shock's first special, but be careful of the Reek's AoE ability. And now that we've covered all that, let's walk through it a couple times. But first, here's the wonderfully helpful flowchart from the fine folks over on the 50 Shards of KAM Discord server that I'll be using for this. There's a lot of RNG in this fight, so use something like this flowchart. It will make it so much easier for you. Okay, so in the first run, Django's opening move is to target the Reek with his basic. This is good RNG. Then the Reek uses his AoE, which is what usually happens. With Rex, we don't want to bother with Cleanse till we've taken out all the B2, so we're just going to go after them. Then we're going to give Arc's turret to Echo and take out another couple B2 stacks. Now with Shock, we need to cleanse her of trample and take out another B2 stack. Shock goes again. No one really needs healed. Remember that we want Rex to die to trigger 5 sacrifice, so we'll just take out a couple more B2 stacks. With Echo, we almost always want to prioritize his grenade. I don't believe there is ever a reason not to use it when it's available. Shock's turn again, and 5s is starting to look a little hurt. We need to make sure he survives long enough to sacrifice, so we'll cleanse the trample off of him. Then we continue targeting the B2s and finish them off. Meanwhile, 5s is still being targeted, which is bad RNG, so we'll heal him up on Shock's turn. Django kills off Echo, which triggers 5's sacrifice. Wasn't optimal RNG for sure, but we're still in good position to win this. Now we cleanse Echo so he can assist. Always use command with Arc when available, it does more damage. And now Arc has more stacks of trample than Django, so we can start targeting Django. And we're getting some good RNG here with Django just using his basic attacks on the Reek. I could stealth Arc Trooper here, but I'm really not that worried about him, so we just use basic on Django so as not to buff the Reek. Rex doesn't have enough trample yet, so just basic on Django to not buff the Reek. More good RNG from Django. And keep going. Shock is getting low, so we cleanse her. Need to make sure she stays alive a while longer. And now Rex finally has enough stacks, but Django is almost dead anyway, so let's see if Rex can survive long enough to use aerial advantage after Django revives. And down goes Django. And more good RNG from Django, but then the Reek kills Rex. Now it's Shock's turn. Let's buff Arc's crit damage and heal Shock a bit. More good RNG, and then we finish off Django. Now we just have to get the Reek down. There's no special trick here, just keep hitting it and trying to keep your team alive. I probably should have cleansed Echo here, but I knew Arc's command was off cooldown, so there would be no assist anyway. So I decided to give Echo speed up instead and save the cleanse for later. And now that cleanse should help Shock survive a bit longer. And there we go, first run down. With this second run, I have a weaker team. We have much worse RNG, and I misplay a couple times and still pull it off. So it starts with Django shooting Echo and Arc with his rocket. Fortunately, he didn't take out Shock with it. Then Reek uses its AoE as usual. Now we cleanse Shock and take out a B2 stack. We don't need to heal yet because we want the sacrifice, so we take out a couple more B2 stacks. Take out more B2, and then there's the sacrifice. Echo is really hurting, so we'll heal him up instead of cleansing that trampled. Another B2. And now it's finally Arc's turn. Command on Echo. Then take out the last of the B2s. And there's that conflagration. Now Arc is looking pretty hurt, so we cleanse him instead of Echo, but I probably should have stealthed him instead since the Reek's AoE was on cooldown. Heal Arc. Cleanse Echo. Grenade. And we can finally shoot Django. And we have aerial advantage up. Now finish off Django. And now it gets a bit hairy with the Reek. It's actually helpful if Rex doesn't survive to this point because he just buffs the Reek more than he helps. I should probably have cleansed Echo here and just accepted losing Shock, but what I ended up doing was trying to stealth Arc and totally selecting the wrong character. So this was a bad misplay. With Echo down here, things are looking bad, and again I should just accept Shock's death here and cleanse ARC Trooper instead of her. But ARC Trooper manages to pull it off anyway. And that's how you beat the Reek. But learn from this very close win, even just 1 or 2 misplays can cost you the fight. And that's it. I hope this has been helpful. If you like my videos, please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit that notification bell, and support me on Patreon if you think I deserve it. Till next time.
I find your lack of rainbow connection disturbing.